Alright, so this is when Suoh comes back home after spending the day with Misa, basically scouting out Mr. Roth's place, which if you remember correctly, or if I remember correctly actually, is the first sort of target that both Suoh and Misa are on a mission together with. Like, Suoh's first kill was the guy he pushed in front of the car, right? That was his first like real kill as a job for Karasu. And then after that he basically only went together with Misa on missions. And yeah, Mr. Roth was the very first one, like the big guy that's smoking on the balcony, you know, that guy that ended up peeing and then I killed him in the bathroom. Yeah, basically that guy, so we're sort of around that point, but the parts, as I mentioned again, that I can skip through, I'm going to skip through, so I'll be catching you up on sort of what you missed if you don't remember it exactly, and to just put you in this particular scene and moment as well. But yeah, let us continue. I'm home. Welcome back. What was that? Did she kiss? Uttering only those 3 words, Sara walked up to my side and kissed me on the cheek. The joy on her face was evident, if not unexplained, and it seemed that Sara was in the mood to show it. Whoa, what's gotten into Sara? I guess she must be really happy at the fact that we went together with her on to the counseling thing, you know, because it feels like something that Suoh really didn't want to do, but he really only did it for Sara. And then, you know, as your sister, you're like, oh wow, he actually only did that for me, I'm so grateful, you know. So she's showing that appreciation to him. After what happened with the counselor, I figured her day could only get worse. If anything, I was expecting depression or anger. Were my behavior and attitude not as toxic as I'd feared? Hehe. Still, it is a little eerie, not knowing what has gotten her so giddy. What is it? Here. Another letter? Oh my god, is it more money or what? It couldn't be the counselor again, already, could it? Don't worry, it's good this time, I promise. As much as I'd like to take her word for it. Dear parents, it is with great pride that we blah 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 blah. Your daughter is... It's an invitation to an award ceremony at our school. Oh, I remember this. We can skip through this part. So basically it's just the point where she asks us to go with her, and obviously we are gonna go with her because we're the good brother in this route, okay? In the previous route we were somewhat neglecting Sara, which ended up with her dying, so we're gonna prevent that at all costs if it's possible. So yeah, that is what we're going to be doing in this route. So we're going to be the bestest brother we can ever be. I guess there's no helping it. Fine, I'll go. You will? Of course. I love watching you kick your classmates' asses. Hee. Oh, that's right. I'd better go buy some clothes appropriate for such an event. It's just a school ceremony. And some new shoes. A tie. Oh, and not just for me. We'd better get going soon if we want to get back before it's dark. Oh god. What have I gotten myself into? Another shopping spree. Thursday night, October 6th. Aw, Misa is sad. During our time together, be it during yesterday's morning's date, last night's practice, or even our meetup this evening, Misa has been sulking and sighing non-stop. You can already see like the fact that if we're neglecting Misa a bit, you can like see her because you're forced to hang out with her, right? I guess that's the real difference that you notice, because when we took the Misa route in the first playthrough, it kind of felt like we didn't see the negative impact that it had on Sara neglecting her as much, because you didn't see those scenes when she was at home, or because of the fact that you hang out with Misa more, therefore you're not at home as much and you don't see Sara as much, meaning you don't really get the negative impact from that as much. But when you're with Misa, and especially because all the activities like of the story, the action that drives the story forward revolves around Misa as well, and Misa is part of that story. So now that the fact that we're neglecting her, we actually see more and more the fact that, you know, she feels neglected and she's actually kind of sad about it. So yeah, I feel bad about it already considering the Misa ending, that was pretty beautiful. Although it's kind of nice to have her display a little less energy, the difference has been far too great. After one little disappointment, she's been acting like a completely different person. Worse, her foul mood has spread to her father. Tuesday and Wednesday night alike, Sai spent the entire training session glaring at me, barely saying a word the entire time. But if there's one saving grace, it's that for once, I actually know why someone of the opposite sex is mad at me. In fact, this time, it wasn't even my fault. Kind of. Either way, I never thought something as small as refusing to go to the circus would have this great of an effect on Misa. We barely even know each other. Why is it so important that I go with her? Can't she go by herself? Or at least with Sai? Actually, seeing Sai go to a festive place like the circus would be pretty funny. As our target's home came into view, Misa corrected her attitude, putting on a serious and stoic face. We moved to the side of the house, careful not to tread in the light. Now that we're here, it's time to get serious. No more distracting thoughts, no more worrying about irrelevant personal problems. This will be my second paid kill, and if I do it right, the second of many to come. I can't afford to screw up now. Misa and I removed our civilian clothing, unveiling our training garbs underneath. While doing so, we stood beside Roth's house, surveying the place one last time before attempting to enter. Looking at it now, with night time upon us, trying to jump onto the veranda feels even more daunting than before. It's like the most straightforward method, of course, but placing my life in the hands of a cracked railing I can barely even see seems like something only an idiot would do. Maybe I should... I don't actually remember. Give me a boost. I think that's what we did, right? Jump onto the rail. Oh no, we jumped on it anyway. Give me a boost down below the veranda and jump really, really, really high. The fact that I'm not sure if I'm repeating myself exactly the same when I read this line, but honestly, the fact that they have to put really, really there makes this like a really, really not good choice for me to pick. So I'm gonna go with, I think we actually went with jump onto the railing anyway. So for this time, we're gonna pick give me a boost. That might work. Though, in that case, she'd end up finishing our target off, not me. Or she could get inside and find a way to let me in. No, she's already sour enough about the whole circus business. The last thing I should be doing is pushing her into doing the hard work for me. Besides, for better or worse, I need to learn how to do this stuff alone. After scaling the fence between the houses of Roth and his neighbor, I steadied myself and faced the railing. So I guess that choice, you can only choose to, or the result of this choice has a different impact if you actually go to the circus with her. Because here he feels guilty, both not going to the circus with Misa and then, letting her do the hard work by, giving her a lift or a boost onto the railing. So that's why this choice sort of feels like it wasn't really a choice, because we decided to do the first path anyway. But it has to do with the previous choice, I guess, with not going to the circus with Misa. I estimated the strength needed to jump, crouched down, and prepared for the worst. Here goes nothing. Come on! Even though I know what's gonna happen, of course. Despite losing 10 years off my life, I made it. I pulled myself over the railing, as I had done when previously climbing the fire escape, and secured my footing on the veranda. Oh man, I hope I never have to do that again. Next time around, I'm just giving Misa a boost. Speaking of whom, I looked out over the railing, trying to spy my partner. Whoa! While I was searching for her down below, Misa looked over my shoulder, wondering what I was looking at. Holy crap! How did she do that? I didn't hear a sound when Misa jumped up here. She's like a cat. She has those cushions under her feet and her hands as well, like a cat. Who's out there? Shit! He's here! Where the hell did Misa... Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, you'd better run. Damn kids, it's too late for this shit. Misa and I hid just in time, narrowly avoiding Mr. Roth's gaze. He opened the veranda door the second I scurried onto the ledge above his garage, automatically assuming that the noise came from the street below. As if congratulating himself for having scared away the assumed kids below, Mr. Roth took the opportunity to light a cigarette and graze the empty street with his visage. Phew, that was close. It would have been nice if Misa saw fit to warn me, but at least we both made it in time. Now we just need to wait until the time is right and make our move. As hesitant as I was to relive that particular aspect of my first payday kill, waiting seemed like the safest course of action. Boring though it may be, if waiting patiently meant cleanly executing my second target, then I'd happily do so. Surely Roth won't be out here for that long. I just have to wait him out, and... As Mr. Roth continued puffing away, the smoke from a cigarette inevitably wafted towards Misa and I. Misa was unfortunate enough to inhale a cloud of his second-hand smoke, and she lacked the foresight to cover her mouth and nostrils. Huh? Uh-oh. Alright, I'm pretty sure we covered Misa's mouth in the first one, so we're gonna do the opposite and we're gonna strike now. So much for waiting him out. Oh, look at that X on his right forearm. Perfect. X marks the spot. Before he could locate the source of the cough, I abandoned our hiding spot and jumped back onto the veranda, immediately taking a swipe at Mr. Roth. Unfortunately, he was already on his guard, thanks to Misa's tip-off, so my surprise attack lacked the intended effect. What the hell? Who are you? What do you think you're doing here? Despite his defiant words, the fear on Mr. Roth's face was evident. He's crying. Oh, poor Mr. Roth. My sudden, unprovoked assault left him on the defensive. Although I quickly cut deep into his arms, I was unable to land any worthwhile strikes. Please, why are you doing this? Let's talk this out. Damn it. Die already, you wife-beating piece of shit. No. Please, no. You're making a mistake. You have the wrong person. I'm not even married. Yeah, right. You have to listen to me, please. I continued to slash the man in front of me, ignoring his pitiful squeals. If I were alone, I might believe this story. Getting the wrong house is definitely something I'm careless enough to do. But Misa is experienced at this. She's a professional. There's no way she'd be here if this was the wrong house. No, Woozy from the blood loss, Mr. Roth's protests began to weaken. Although he kept his guard up, preventing me from landing any fatal blows, his reflexes had slowed, and his strength was waning. Seriously, can't you just slash him in the belly fat or something? Like I understand that he's like protecting his face and part of his chest and whatnot, but you can still poke him or slash him in the guts or his kidneys or whatever, There are plenty of organs that are still vulnerable in this kind of position that Mr. Roth is in, which is almost like, please don't hurt me, rather than a really defensive guard position, This has gone on for too long already. It's time to end this. What the heck was that? Tired of hacking away at Mr. Roth's layers of fat, I kicked him back, pushing him through the cracked railing and sending him to the ground. Mr. Roth's head hit the ground hard, and within seconds, blood began to pool around his body. Shit. That didn't go as planned. Even if I managed to end our night's work very quickly, the execution was far from perfect. I was forced into action the moment Misa gave us away, and our target was alerted to our presence, giving him time to defend himself, and even to yell. As a result, our victim's bloody carcass is now on display, in plain view for any late-night joggers or insomniac neighbors, any of whom might have been alerted by the sound of the conflict. Misa tugged on my shirt, pulling my attention away from our prey and back to reality. Yeah, I know. Let's go home. Oh my god, this was definitely way less of a clean kill. Right, so this is the scene where both Sara and Suoh are kind of, playfully... I don't even know. This looks really wrong out of context, I know. But yeah, I don't know exactly what they were doing, but they're just sort of messing around. And then for some reason, Sara decided to take Suoh's shirt off and uncovering all of the cuts and scars that Suoh has endured from the late night training with Sai and Misa. And then she sees it, and then we just, how do we tell it? What do we tell her? How do we explain this to her? So yeah, Sara looked at my torso again, examining the numerous cuts with a worried expression. When did this happen? Damn, that was careless. I really wasn't expecting Sara to do something so brazen. How am I supposed to explain this? It was an accident at work, you did this to me. I was attacked by a Japanese girl. Should we just tell the truth? Considering that if we're gonna go for the Sara route, being the biggest and best brother we can ever be, we kind of have to be anti-Misa as well, making all the choices that have a negative impact on Misa. So kind of ratting her out, even though she is technically to blame for this, right? Because these are her cuts, but she didn't do it in like an aggressive fit. It was just part of the training, so can't really blame her for it. But still, I feel like that's the course of actions that we need to take if we want to get this particular ending. So yeah, I'm sorry, Misa. I feel bad for saying it, but I was attacked by a Japanese girl. The truth, huh? That doesn't sound wise. Actually, the truth is, I was attacked on my way home. You were? Yeah. You see, I encountered a wild Japanese high school girl, and she... Stop right there! Yeah, there are no wild Japanese high school girls. Not in America. In Japan, sure. If you won't tell me the truth, then the least you could do is make up a more believable lie. She always asks for the truth, but the moment I try to give it to her... Oh well, if you're healthy enough to come up with an excuse like that, I'm sure you'll be fine. And as punishment for lying to me, yeah! What did she do? Did she karate chop us? Phew, much better. You look almost human now. Thanks. But what about you? Are you really going like that? Huh? What's wrong with the way I look? Oh, nothing. Nothing at all. I'll be right back. Sara is just too easy. So, how about now? What the hell? Where and when did Sara get an outfit like that? And for that matter, why? I guess this is what my snide comments get me. I'd better give it a rest, right? We're just gonna tell her to change back, I think. What are you, a bridegroom? Just change back in what you were wearing before. Fine. Honestly, you men are so fickle when it comes to clothing. After Sara reluctantly changed back into the clothes she had been wearing before, we departed at last. Alright, an unskippable part at the Sara's award ceremony, so we're just gonna continue from here. Wow, they're actually acknowledging Sara's interest in legal studies. I guess it's just that Valen's woman who has a problem with Sara's outdoor interest after all. Here you go. Thank you. Aww, it actually looks so much more better with her in the dress, I guess. It just seems to fit her personality better. When she wears that suit, it almost seems like I mean, it gives those people more reason to sort of make up those false accusations. Oh, Suoh is abusing her, and because when she's wearing a suit, they can like, oh yeah, she's wearing a suit to hide all of her bruises. But with a dress, you can't really hide those things, right? So yeah, I guess this picture looks a lot better on Sara for sure. After accepting her award, Sara looked out into the audience, her eyes soon landing firmly on her one and only family member. Her smile grew even wider as I returned her gaze, perfecting the scene as she received rare acknowledgement for her efforts.